I would like to say a very quick hello to everybody who's watching. And I have to introduce Mr. Sushil Sharma. And he is somebody who has expertise with respect to climate change. And that is why we have him on as a guest, as a panelist today, to answer some of our questions, frequently asked questions regarding climate change. And hopefully, we will be getting some of our questions answered. So, Mr. Sushil, do you have any words for our audience?
Thank you very much, Divya. Thank you for having me on your podcast or show. I work in the area of ESG regulation, implementation, consulting, data, and stuff like that. And my consistent message to people that I interact with is you can't be a different person at work talking about sustainability and not being sustainable in your daily life. So therefore, that's the position I come from, that as practitioners, it has to have seeped into you so that in your daily life, you're aware.
Right.
So let's see how much of what we do, we are able to relate to.
All right. So the format of this conversation is mostly going to be me putting forth some questions that I feel are questions that most people have. And we'll wait for your response, and then of course, it's going to be a discussion, so I might add on a couple of points here and there, and hopefully our listeners will enjoy it. And so let's jump into the drill.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so the first question that I have for you is, could you maybe, break down climate change or the concept of climate change in a very easy to understand language for the benefit of our audience?
Sure. So if you look at cataclysmic events in the history of the Earth, and dinosaurs are a popular topic, one event and the weather of the world, the climate of the world changed, and an entire species went out of existence. Right? Now, human evolution is such that you adapt to your environment slowly, methodically over time. The adaptation works, and therefore your genus survives. Simple examples: what is the climate in which wheat grows, rice grows, coffee grows, agricultural cultivation? And indeed, for a given community, what are the kind of animal life that are in your environment? So if you're a hunter, then that. If you're a gatherer, then agricultural produce. And when that clicks, you have food. And when you have food, you have settlements. You have settlements, you have towns, cities. When you have towns and cities, you have civilization.
Right.
The problem with cataclysmic events is it disrupts this in one fell swoop, like a meteor strike, which is said to have wiped out dinosaurs. But for climate change, this is a gradual event. So climate change by cataclysm, nobody can do anything. Climate change by the most supposedly intelligent species on the planet. Climate change triggered by the most intelligent species on the planet is going to disrupt those ecosystems that allow human beings to thrive. Planet Earth will thrive. And I've got a fantastic case study in Chernobyl. Chernobyl, today in Ukraine, there was a nuclear blast. And everybody ran away. And for several decades, nobody has dared go there. If you see recent documentaries on Chernobyl, you will find phenomenal wildlife, flora and fauna in Chernobyl. In just 30 years, species that were considered to have gone extinct. So Earth will take care of itself. Man, can mankind take care of itself is the question. And that is the changes in cropping patterns, changes in creatures that live around us. And for those who are hunters, many of those are food. If your food disappears and your food security disappears, then what?
Yeah.
So the change in the patterns brought in by changes in temperatures and so on and so forth is the most tangible aspect.
Okay, thank you so much for that brilliant and easy to understand description of what climate change would mean for us humans. And of course, the example that you gave about Chernobyl, I did see some of those images, and it's astonishing how there was such a big event that took place and kind of wiped out humans from that region, and how the flora and fauna is actually prospering. So
That's
that's
all it took to revive the environment is to
right.
eliminate humans.
Yeah, yeah. So that brings me to my second question then. Um, we sort of have we have had lots of changes in the Earth's climate in the past, right? Of course, we know of the ice ages, and there were periods of warmer climates as well. So, do we have concrete evidence that human activities are causing this climate change that we are experiencing right now?
There's data of the last century.
Yeah,
It showed a very steep increase in global temperatures.
right.
You can map that to industrialization.
Hmm.
And so there's a correlation between industrialization and this increase in temperature.
Hmm.
Now, as a good statistics student, you should know that correlation is not cause and effect.
Yeah,
Just because industrialization was happening at the same time and temperatures went up at the same time does not mean this caused that.
yeah,
So the logical link for cause and effect over there is plenty of carbon dioxide in our environment.
right.
That carbon dioxide keeps the earth sufficiently warm.
Hmm.
Important to note this.
Yeah,
Absent carbon dioxide, the earth would become too cold to live on.
yeah.
So there's something called an optimum amount of carbon dioxide which keeps the earth warm.
Hmm.
That carbon dioxide is closely linked to industrialization. So industrialization, carbon dioxide heat attaches to carbon dioxide. If the carbon dioxide is at natural levels, pre-industrial levels, it keeps the earth habitable. But when a lot of heat gets attached to the carbon dioxide, then the temperature starts to move. So cause one,
Hmm.
carbon dioxide, cause two, industrialization that generates that carbon dioxide, cause three, warming. And then when you put the industrialization data and the heating data on the same map, you can see the correlation, and the cause and effect is this logic of industrialization, carbon dioxide, therefore heat trap. And
Okay.
so we know for sure the data is there. There are some very interesting videos of some climate skeptics
Hmm.
being taken on flights to the
Yeah.
far north, where there was a viewing station to see a glacier,
Hmm.
and you take the climate skeptic there, and today around that viewing station there's only grass and
Hmm.
the glacier several kilometers in the distance. And
Hmm.
through a series of such short journeys, those set of skeptics that traveled on these paths
Yeah.
came back saying, wow, this is real. I didn't think, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? So there are other people's experiences to learn from as well.
All right. That makes a lot of sense, Mr. Sushil, because there are so many people who, disregard climate science and what climate scientists are telling us, and also the urgency of the problem, really. So it's good to have such experiments or such activities being conducted to sort of
Indeed,
debunk those myths or those falsehoods that are being spread by some people.
indeed, indeed.
Okay, so now
So
moving.
can I just add a couple
Yeah,
of things
sorry.
there?
Yeah, yeah.
There are two things to say there.
Hmm.
One is the skeptic. One set of people are in denial.
Hmm.
They are not scientific enough in their temper. The other set of people are overly scientific. Mankind has handled so many challenges
Hmm.
with innovation in science that this too shall be handled.
Yeah.
Okay, and both of those are detrimental.
Hmm.
Yes, your next question.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense because some people, overestimate. Maybe it's because of one can call it the Star Wars effect, if one can call it that, where people do imagine things to be larger than life, and you know, the advances of science are not there just yet to be able to resolve that.